You've got Portugal, Spain. I mean, it's just outstanding, the impact that this has had and how people have picked it up and they've run with it because they're ready. The time is right to build the new and focus in on becoming more self-sufficient.
Getting those habits, finding all the little steps that you can do, not overwhelming yourself. You're absolutely right there, Katherine. You mustn't overwhelm yourself. I do mindful eating and I just look at my plate and I thank the farmers for everything they've just given me. And if you can't thank a farmer for what's on your plate, you really shouldn't be eating it.
Welcome to The Wellness Way with me, Philly J. Lay, a layperson's guide to your natural health systems, your very own NHS.
Hello, lovely people, and welcome to the new slot on Wellness Way Wednesday. So I have another guest today who's been on the show before and a woman that I am so in awe of. She founded the People's Health Alliance, the People's Food and Farming Alliance, and we're going to talk about the first anniversary of these amazing organizations and everything new she's got coming up. So without further ado, because we've got so much to talk about, I want to welcome the truly astonishing Katherine MacBean. Katherine, hello and welcome back to the show.
Hello, thank you so much for having me, Philly. It's always a joy with you. There's never a dull moment. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
But before we go into all the new enterprises, can you tell us what's happening with the beloved People's Health Alliance?
Yeah, no, more than happy to do so. So 23rd of April, later this week, is our first anniversary. We couldn't have ever imagined launching a year ago on 200 quid and a bunch of kind of reprobates and volunteers coming together to create something new.
We're not
And
reprobates, love. I'm going to pull you on that. We're not reprobates.
They're the best people as well. They're absolutely the best people. I'm very blessed, actually. We just have all the right people who come together at the right time, and it's just been an incredible experience so far. I mean, because obviously we started well before we launched last April, but what's happened in the last year is nothing short of staggering. You know, we've got, I think, 11 or 12 hubs now open in the UK, physical hubs, a number of virtual hubs. There's about 30 others, I think, just over 30 coming in fast to open their doors. And there's now multiple hubs open in Australia and New Zealand. And I think Canada are about to open their doors. You've got Portugal, Spain. I mean, it's just outstanding, the impact that this has had and how people have picked it up and they've run with it because they're ready. The time is right to build the new and focus in on becoming more self-sufficient and taking back our power at community level, taking it back at individual level, and doing it in the right way. And this, what's been the beautiful byproduct of this, I've said this a little bit recently, is just the support networks that have been created by the groups in their local areas, which is not really what we necessarily had on the agenda to achieve, but as it's just naturally, organically happened, that there's just multiple support groups now across the UK there for each other. And yeah, I couldn't have ever imagined this much would be achieved in this amount of time.
Oh, it's so good to hear. And for anybody that hasn't seen our first podcast, and you should have seen our first podcast, so go back and have a little listen to that one. Can you just explain to anybody new here exactly what the People's Health Alliance is?
We're an initiative that supports groups across the UK at community level in forming what we call the health hub. For each one, that will look different, and we like it to be an integrative approach. So ideally, there'll be a variety of different holistic practitioners there, as well as allopathic practitioners. And it's somewhere where people can go to look at the whole healing approach. So in the old times, you go into the doctor, you're in and out 5, maybe 10 minutes at a push, and you're maybe focused on one particular area. And they'll look at the physical element of that. And whilst I'm not here to knock that, we prefer the whole healing approach. So most of these practitioners, they'll look at kind of the mind, the body, the soul, and understand the interconnectedness that we have throughout our bodies and our minds and how everything works together. So I do like that approach. And what they then are able to do is, because a lot of these guys understand other modalities, is if, for example, they're identifying something that could be a bit of a gut health issue, they may say, I suggest you go and have a chat with our nutritionist, or, you know, it could be any other issue that they spot. And there's somebody there who will focus in on that, but also be able to look at you in a holistic manner. So the other element to it is through education on our website, our webinars, workshops, wellbeing Wednesday Zooms, is education. How do we actually find real health? What does that look like? How can we be empowered to take responsibility for our own health more? And these practitioners and these hub groups will support your journey in achieving the best health you can for yourself. But you know, this, like I say, there's now so much more to it, and I'll come on to in a minute what we're moving into. But in terms of the health hubs, it's incredible what's been achieved, and we would just love to see one across every single community across the UK, across the world.
It's absolutely astonishing. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so thrilled to be part of it. You know, I love my evenings when I get onto my Telegram, and I'm in various hubs all over the country. And
Are you right?
Podcast that for some reason I'm in the Canadian hub, and I don't know why. But I love connecting and getting this information from other practitioners, and it makes you feel that you're not alone, that you're you know, I'm an EFT tapper, mad tapper, and I'm obviously in the EFT group. Oh, talking about EFT, I don't know if you noticed, but it was on EastEnders last week.
No, I did not. No.
Had a young girl crying, and her friend, I don't watch EastEnders, I got sent the shot, and her friend walked into the bedroom door and said, oh, are you all right? And she was sitting there tapping, and her friend said, oh, what are you doing? She said, I'm doing EFT. It helps with my anxiety. So amazing. A lot, you know, Boy George did it when he was in the jungle, and a lot of these modalities are slowly, very slowly, but surely becoming mainstream. And it's wonderful to have these health hubs in place so that people know that this isn't mad. It might look mad, but it isn't mad, and it works.
We would love more people to come and get involved with helping at core for PFFA, because one of the things we want to do is set up education centres to train more people in being mobile butchers and mobile feed mixers as well, so that the farmers are able to, and smallholders and the smaller farms, they're able to have a butcher come on site, do what needs to be done, but you've got to think about the storage. How do you manage all of that? So the ideal model is that the local community has said, right, we want X amount of beef, we want X amount of lamb, whatever it might be, at the beginning of or prior to each season, and the farmer's able to produce to that, lets the community know, right, it's going to be available on the 25th of this month, because they've had the butcher in that morning, he's done what needs to be done, it's been prepped and ready, and the local community can come and collect it. Perfect, absolutely ideal. That's what you want to see happen. We also want money and people to come on board to help, so we can do and sort of grow community feed mixers, farming feed mixers. They go round from farmyard to farmyard. Ideally the farmer's growing his own fodder crops, and they do the relevant mixing with the right protein levels and so on. So again, it doesn't have to be feed that comes in from an external source. That farmer's confident that he knows what he's putting in his animals, and as such his customers will know what has been put in those animals, and it's not going to be filled with other things. I used to work in the fodder industry. It's not pretty. It is not pretty. And I certainly, you know, when I buy for just my few chickens in the background, I'm very, very keen to know that what I'm buying them is good for them. So, you know, the whole industry needs turning over, but we can have an impact at community level. We can connect with our farmers and our producers and our growers to ensure that we're supporting them and making the right decisions, and they can deal directly with us. So we take out the middlemen, which is where the crap comes into play. Take the middlemen out of the equation. And those farmers are going to feel gentle pressure from their communities to move towards a more mixed farming, organic approach, so that they're able to serve their community. But we've got to help them through that transition. It's not cheap. It's going to take a lot of time and energy, but we need to start now. Otherwise, we're going to be left with the mRNA crap on the shelves that none of us are going to want to touch.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, a lot of the food, I can't shop for food in a supermarket anymore. It just disgusts me at the amount of chemicals and crap that is just plying our shelves, which people think is normal food now. And
yeah,
I'm kind of that first generation to get that crap. I remember Angel Delight coming in when I was a child, and I bloody loved it. And now the thought of eating that is
I bet you though, the Angel Delight you had wasn't as filled with crap as the Angel Delight we had now. I put money on it. I haven't even checked the labels. I bet you any amount of money what you had was a healthier version back then than what you'll see on the shelves now. Everything has just got worse and worse and worse in from what I'm seeing. So even what was considered quick food back in the day, if you like, probably didn't have as many preservatives and chemicals and rubbish shoved in it as we see now. It's just escalated and it's out of control. And it's going to be down to us to change that. And we do that through how we buy. We do that through how we grow, how we consume. And it's got to come back to whole foods. It's got to come back to whole, good quality foods, whereby we're just taking all the nonsense, the chemicals, the sugars, the extra bits out of what we're eating. And in turn, watch what happens to your health. What happens to your mental health. Watch what happens to your family. You know, we're all going to get the benefits from it by looking and changing how we produce and consume food.
Absolutely. I'm actually on a gut repair at the moment. Yes. And it's wonderful because you just like nothing on earth. You know, it's just everything comes out of you and it's just lovely and you feel so clean. And then I go and shove a coffee enema up my arse as well. And that is just wonderful, just getting all of that crap out your body, because no matter how clean you eat, and I eat clean, we live in a toxic world and there's nothing we can do about it. And so you do need to keep detoxing and getting that stuff out and keep on the ball, keep your gut repaired. And as you said, you will feel so much better for it. It is amazing. Getting those habits, finding all the little steps that you can do, not overwhelming yourself. You're absolutely right there, Katherine. You mustn't overwhelm yourself, because otherwise it just becomes a trial, an effort, and that in itself causes stress. And I know when I started my journey, I was so obsessed with organic food and eating clean and detoxing that my mentor said to me, "You're causing your body so much stress because you're having reactions to absolutely everything, because you're frightened of what it's going to do to you. So it's really important to have no fear." And when you cock up and you eat a bit of crap, as we all do, you know, I just tap on it and go, "You can't hurt me." Nothing there going to hurt me. And it's cracking. It works.
Yeah, because you don't want to go to being neurotic. You know, you don't want to be neurotic. So if you're generally in good health, you can get away with a slice of cake. You can get away with the odd coffee. You can have. So I think a lot of it's about balance and moderation, a lot of the time. But being aware, what the question I ask myself before I put something in my mouth: how will this serve me? How will this benefit me? So for a lot of foods, we understand the nutritional benefits for certain foods. And if you don't know, go and find out. There's loads and loads of information out there. So I want to make sure what I'm putting in my mouth now that's the question I ask myself. I look at my plate. Is this going to serve me? Is this going to heal me, provide me with good energy? You know, help my gut feel good? Now, sometimes the answer is no. Do I really, really want it? Well, if I really, really want it, I'm going to have it. But make it a conscious decision. It's not the norm that you're having that food. It's a conscious decision. Like, for example, with my period's due, I'm having that bar of chocolate. I don't care who you are. I'm having that bar of chocolate and I'm going to thoroughly enjoy that bar of chocolate. But then I'm not going to have a bunch of chocolate throughout the month, the rest of the month, you know. So I think it is about balance and moderation and understanding that you're making a conscious decision as, am I putting this inside me because it's going to serve me well, or am I just desperately wanting it? And you've got to make that decision for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that I always do, and I miss it from my childhood and from school, we always said grace before we ate. And so I do mindful eating, and I just look at my plate and I thank the farmers for everything they've just given me. And if you can't thank a farmer for what's on your plate, you really shouldn't be eating it.
If you are enjoying my work, please sign up to my webpage, phillyjlay.com, and you will receive my newsletters and an exclusive Walking into Your Future meditation. And if you buy my course, The Wellness Way Masterclass, Your Natural Wellness Journey, you will get 2 amazing free bonus gifts: my Wellness Awakening album and a video on how I make my herbal teas. And for the full, completely uncensored videos of my podcast, you can come and find me on my Rumble channel, where my guests still have freedom of speech. And join me on my Locals community channel, where I will be building my community and starting my weekly Zoom calls for the price of a cup of coffee a month.